All right, good afternoon. I don't always get the settings on my phone right. We're using the hearing aids with Bluetooth in those, so I think it sounds in some ways better than the Bluetooth headset in combination with these. This will actually do two items at the same time. I always thought it was just one Bluetooth connection, but we got two of them. I haven't watched my other two videos. I haven't even edited those. I did give a title to those, and those were Genocide, the White Genocide Part 1 and Part 2. And subscribers are up slightly. I know a lot of people might be watching this. I'm not seeing a lot of hits on it, to be honest with you. I know that they're basically doing their best to track all of us at this point. We've authorized and subscribed to the digital penitentiary that they've created for all of us. And of course, right now, since they're going to expand that to go after the illegals, which I think is a mistake on our part. I think that we should be forming our militias and we should put a bounty on their heads and let the average man go out there and round them up. Now, I'm not saying a white versus black or white versus brown or any of that. I'm just saying average American man, citizen, lawful, citizen, born here maybe even. Put a limit on it. So you got to be born here, and you can go and collar the bastards who are here illegally and present them and collect a bounty, because it costs so much money for these ICE agents. The officers, and don't get me wrong, I think they're earning their keep and then some. I think they're making the most valiant, big sacrifices possible. We don't even know what kind of crap they go through. We're not hearing from them. So this is White Genocide Part 3. And this all stems from the story in the Garden of Eden. When Cain, half-breed Cain, that's right, half-breed, that's what he was an ish in the Bible. It means it's a man, kind of a tag on for a man like British, Irish. He was an ish in the Bible, kind of an it rather than a man. And we know he was male, and we also know that his half-brother Abel, whom he murdered, were both there making sacrifices. And in the old days, back then, only the oldest son was authorized to offer sacrifice. As a matter of fact, it was his duty to offer sacrifice for the entire family. The oldest was consecrated to the service of Yahweh. And here we have both boys offering sacrifices. And apparently, Cain's sacrifice was not acceptable to Yahweh because he was out of the family. He was sired by Gadriel, a fallen angel, G-A-D, from which we get his nickname Gad, from which you get the formal noun, if you will, God, a class, a God. And then G-A-D-R-E-E-L. And it used to be until about 2 years ago that Wikipedia had the Gadriel up there as one of the 6 leaders of the fallen angels. And they took it down once I started to post about it, because I was telling everybody, Wikipedia, that great reference in the ethers or whatever it is, they told us this. And they told us that he seduced Eve. Well, I don't know who seduced whom. We don't have that in detail in the Bible. We have Eve giving her excuse to her father Yahweh God that he beguiled me and I did eat. So you need to understand, women have been a problem since that time that we have in recorded history. And that's in Genesis chapter 3. The very next chapter, the first chapter, Genesis 4, verse 1, we have Eve claiming that she got a man-child with the help of Yahweh. Okay. How did Yahweh help her to get this? Or Was she tricked by the trickster who pretended to be Yahweh? We don't know. Or was Eve actually, was it an act of prostitution? Did she do it for an apple? We just don't know. Or was it a knockdown, drag out rape? We just don't know. I don't find enough references. But here's the problem. You think this is the original sin. It's not the original sin. The original sin is in Genesis chapter 6. And that was where it says, and the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were fair and decided to take all of them they wanted and go into them to be wives. And don't give me any bullshit about not being married or marriage license or like. They didn't take that out. Marriage was the consecration. It was the act of sex. To use the native word, it was fucking. They don't have making love, and they don't have any substitute languages, words for it in their culture. It's not coitus. It's not. They don't have any words that are polite on it. Anyway, what we know is that Yahweh told Cain, if he did not do well, keep that in mind. You got to do good. If you don't do good, will you not be accepted? And he murdered. He murdered Abel in the field. He coaxed him out on the field and bashed his brains out with a rock. That's not doing very good, is it? And not only that, Yahweh addresses Cain saying, basically, where's your brother at? Your brother's blood cries out from the ground to me, which indicates that there's something in the blood that can do that, that's got that ability. Might be the spirit, might be the DNA signature, which is why they're trying to alter everybody's DNA as best they can. We are in very trying times. So I think it's a toss-up. I don't know whether we're going to have a day of the Lord, or if the bad guys are going to genocide us all or get us to nuke each other. They'll do that. They're quite capable of that. They have dug in deep during each of these Earth transitions for the last 6 times and come out on top. And they do go after the old technology, which they do their best to withhold from us, and they use some of that technology to reward the people that are willing to do their bidding, do their will. Namely, if you're willing to go to war, if you're willing to sacrifice an innocent human, arrange for an innocent man to die, or sacrifice one of your own children, which they do in Hollywood all the damn time, then they reward you. Or if you take us to an illegal war in the Middle East, then they give you one of their patents, so you can make a lot of royalties off that. And the patent just happens to be a sweetener that will poison the other people. So they like that even more because they get 2 birds with 1 stone. Not only do we pay you for the past genocide, but we're providing you with a method to keep the genocide going. And that's why we're at such low numbers today. And we're somewhere just north of 3%, barely, maybe 3.5%, down from a high of 30%. Might have been 33%, but let's just say 30%. And they've got the whole world claiming we are the racist, we're the bad guys, and I don't think we are. However, they do have a lot of Caucasians that have gone over to the dark side and do their bidding. They're definitely treasonous, traitorous rat bastards, no doubt about it. Many of those are in the United States Congress. And they're doing their best to set this police state up as fast as they can. And they've been using all kinds of technology on us all the time to weaken us, to shorten our lives, to give us brain fog, to diminish our strength, diminish our mental capacities, so that we won't resist them. And they're doing their best to destroy America as fast as they can, like Joe Biden said. Oh, whites are going to be a minority for the first time, and he thinks that's a good thing. And he's a Zionist. He even said that. Don't worry, you Democrats out there, nothing's going to happen to Joey. Why? Because he's just the other wing of the same ugly bird. Donald Trump is on the opposite wing of that ugly bird. If you want to understand what's going on, Daniel the prophet's got quite a bit in the Bible. That's a good one to go to. But he kind of cut it off at the end. There were things he was told to close it up. Don't reveal it till the end times. And then there's other prophets in the Bible, major and minor, that have got quite a bit to contribute. There's passages in Psalms as well. However, if you want to look at what's coming, you go to 2 Esdras chapter 11 in the Apocryphal books. Now, Esdras is just a Latinized, Romanized form of the name Ezra, the prophet Ezra, which is next to Nehemiah in the Bible. 2 Esdras chapter 11 speaks about not an eagle, not a two-headed eagle, but a three-headed eagle. And it talks about the wings and the feathers. And I think there are maybe 10 wings that are talked about in there. This print is so small, and I don't have my wonderful light here. The quartz halogen's over at the couch. I was going to do some reading until I saw the book had been... It's a hardback book I bought brand new, and it's got some snotty crap or something on the cover. And Amazon's not working the website so I can get it back. So this is the King James Version, which is probably inferior to the New Standard Revised Version of the Apocrypha. And they both might be substandard to the Ethiopian Bible. I don't know. I haven't studied these things. I haven't looked at a lot of these different versions. These are hidden books, and a lot of people don't like them. So chapter 11, excuse me while I get up and turn on the overhead. Quartz halogens and incandescent bulbs are wonderful. The blue screen of the computer and the cell phone are evil. Then I saw a dream, and behold, there came up from the sea an eagle, which had 12 feathered wings and 3 heads. And I saw, and behold, she spread her wings over all the earth, and all the winds of the air blew on her and were gathered together. And I beheld, and out of her feathers there grew other contrary feathers, and they became little feathers and small. But her heads were at rest. The head in the midst was greater than the other, yet rested it with a residue. Moreover, I beheld, and lo, the eagle flew with her feathers, and reigned upon earth, and stood over them that dwell therein. I want you to think about this for a little bit. This eagle reigns over the whole earth. This is Mystery Babylon. And if you just tuned into me for the first time, you know, if you want to find me again, you'll need to subscribe, because this channel is not pumped up in the algorithms whatsoever. So if you just give it a thumbs up, which I would appreciate, or if you don't like it and want to give a thumbs down, my understanding that feeds the algorithm as well. And it's supposed to actually help me, but I don't know about that. And I saw that all things under heaven were subject unto her, and no man spake against her, no, not one creature upon the earth. And I beheld, and lo, the eagle rose upon her talons, and spake to her feathers, saying, Watch not all at once, sleep every one in his own place, and watch by course. It's a battle. These are going to watch over for the night. They're going to take turns on that. But let the heads be preserved for the last, And I beheld, and lo, the voice went not out of her heads, but from the midst of her body. That's the first 10 verses for you. Probably can look it up on the internet freely. Stuff is so old. There's got to be copies that are not copyrighted available on the internet. Oh, and there's further in it talks about 10. And remember, 10 was a big number in Daniel's prophecies as well. But this is the very end, and this has been cut out so we wouldn't wake up to it and wouldn't be warned in advance. So you've got 3 heads. The biggest is the middle one. And to me, this is referring to the city-states, which are independent of all other jurisdictions, and they rule the earth today. The big one being the fat head of Rome, the Vatican. And then we have 2 other heads, one being the money changers, money bags, up in England, what's called the City of London. So you got the Vatican, Rome, the City of London inside of London proper, which is separate. Then, and it looks like the shape of a crown if you look at the boundaries, but even the Queen curtsies and asks permission before she enters, because it's not her jurisdiction, it's not part of her kingdom. And then you have Washington, D.C., District of Columbia, which is not part of our country either. And it's totally independent. And it was empowered with authority to manage the 10 square miles of it, I believe. However, they've exceeded the authority of the corporation created to give them that authority, which our Congress created, which our founders would be rolling in their graves to know about this today. They would never allow a corporation. And in case you're wondering, there's not a bunch of separate corporations. There's only one corporation. Washington, D.C. is definitely incorporated underneath the Crown of Britain, which is incorporated underneath the Vatican. There are 3 great papal bulls. I've read this in the past, and I knew what they were, but I don't talk about this much, and I'm suffering from information overload, so I can't tell you what those 3 proclamations were. But if you look at the beehive crown for the popes, there's 3 levels. And I'll tell you this, each one of those proclamations is a fraud. They aren't the vicar of Christ. They don't represent him. They don't have any authority from him. They aren't even founded upon Christ. They're founded upon Simon Magus, also known as Simon the Sorcerer, also was a magi, and also was a Mesopotamian Peter, as in penis, priest. And his second name is Petar versus Simon Peter, the apostle, which is spelled Peter. And remember, the devil always seeks to imitate. And that's what we have going on today, especially in Washington, D.C. So I don't trust it at all. Sometimes I get a little bit of faith and confidence in the man, but I look at the jackasses he's got around him, and I was like, what's that bubble bath boy doing there in the most powerful position since Mr. Kissinger? Interesting. They both like men better than women. So the genocide's going to continue until we are kindled by Yahweh. So Yahweh's going to give us some real bad grief. He's going to kindle us with rage, with mania, hypomania to mania. And so what is going to happen? Oh, I think I went past it. It's one of those books I have trouble finding in the Bible because it's not really part of the minor prophets. It's before then, from what I can tell. Keep having trouble finding this thing. I think it's Nehemiah, Esther, Job. Okay, Job. Psalms. And I'm probably going to give up. But there are 21 verses total. For some reason, they called it Obadiah, chapter 1. There's no chapter 2. And it is the shortest book in the Bible, Old Testament. I got corrected on that a while back. Hey, I'm here to learn too, you know. But we basically will be called upon to defend the world, the entire world, not just a little bit of it, because the earth groans for her saviors. And I can tell you that we'll do that eventually. Where the heck is Jonah at? Oh, man. I can't believe this is so hard for me to find. This is not a tab Bible. If you get one of these, spend the extra money and get a tab version. I think those came out after I got this one. This is large print. So I'm going to look up Obadiah. Thanks for hanging out with me here for a little bit. And I apologize that I'm not better organized. But I don't plan these in advance. You know, I do these in the spirit of the moment. Every time I try to prepare for something, just like my radio show in the past. Every time I tried to plan for it, it fell on my face. It was miserable. I didn't have a good time as I was reading things to people, and people didn't have a good time as I was reading to them either. Oh yeah, it's way up there beyond the major prophets, 1629. Oh, there we go. It's in the minor prophets. Yeah. I think I went right past it. Let me read the... Yep, I went past it. It's buried in the... there we go. Obadiah. The vision of Obadiah. Thus says the Lord Yahweh concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise you, and let us rise up against her in battle. Edom is the word for red, like my shirt, like the color that was ascribed by the news monopoly to the Republican Party, and we never got it changed back the way it should be. It should be blue for the Republicans and red for the party of Edom, the damn Democrats. Behold, I have made you small among the heathen. You are greatly despised. The pride of your heart has deceived you, you that dwell in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that says in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Nice old Rosy Cross, Switzerland, bastards. Though you exalt yourself as the eagle, and though you set your nest among the stars, there will I bring you down, says Yahweh. If thieves came to you, if robbers by night, how are you cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to you, would they not leave some grapes? Gleaning was a requirement in the Old Testament. You had to leave some stuff in your fields on the edges. You weren't allowed to harvest that. You left that so the poor could go and glean that for themselves. That's our welfare back then. How are the things of Esau? Esau became renamed Edom when he sold his inheritance for the bowl of red porridge. Which, by the way, he was famished because he hadn't slept for 3 days, 3 nights, or maybe it was 3 days and he ran 2 nights. I don't know what it was. But he spent 3 days running from the bodyguards of Nimrod, who he hunted down and murdered. He was a great hunter, and he went after Nimrod so he could steal Nimrod's magic garments, the magic clothes, which supposedly were the clothes that Yahweh had made for Adam in the garden. And the word was it made him invisible so people couldn't see him and he could hunt and just walk right up on his prey. So he's hungry and famished and he shows up back at home, and it's in the Genesis. Go look it. How are the things of Esau searched out? I just helped you with that a little bit. How are his hidden things sought up? Yep. All the men of your confederacy have brought you even to the border. The men that were at peace with you have deceived you and prevailed against you. They that eat your bread and have laid a wound under you, there is no understanding in him. Shall I not in that day, says Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? And your mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. For your violence against your brother Jacob, shame shall cover you, and you shall be cut off forever. Jacob, the true descendants of Israel. Jacob had two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which have become the United States of America and Great Britain. The older son became Great Britain from the way I read it, and the younger son became Manasseh. But I want you to understand, destroy the wise men. There's no wisdom in this nation anymore. Even the people that are doing their best to genocide us and pull one over on us, they can't even keep their mouths shut and hide anything, and they can't make the right decisions. And what they do doesn't work very well, does it? Shall I not in that day, says Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? Same person. And your mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. For your violence against your brother, shame shall cover you, and you shall be cut off forever. They went after the Israelites when the Babylonians took Jerusalem and took the temple. It was the Edomites who went in and burned the temple, not the Babylonians. The Babylonians didn't want to burn a temple, didn't want to risk offending a god, but the Edomites sure as hell did. In that day that you stood on the other side, in that day that the strangers carried away captive his forces out of Jerusalem, and foreigners entered into his gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even you were as one of them, going to take some slaves. But you should not have looked on that day of your brother in the day that he became a stranger, pulled him out of the country. Neither should you have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither should you have spoken proudly in the day of distress. You should not have entered into the gates of my people in the day of their calamity. Yes, you should not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither should you have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape and hand them over to the Babylonians. Neither should you have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. For the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. As you have done, it shall be done to you. So much for forgiveness. Your reward shall return upon your own head. Instant karma, divine retribution. Which the Emperor Constantinople took karma out of the Bible. It was in there. Excuse me. For as you have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yes, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh has spoken it. And they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau, and they of the plain the Philistines, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim, and Ephraim, and the fields of Samaria, northern Israel, and Benjamin shall possess Gilead. And the captivity of this host of the children of Israel shall possess that of the Canaanites, even to Zarephath, and the captivity of Jerusalem, which is in Sepharad, which shall possess the cities of the south. And Savior shall come upon Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be Yahweh's. May Yahweh bless.